The president of the National Unity Platform, His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, aka Bobiwine, wrote to leaders of different political parties congratulating them on coming out of the recent elections alive, despite the numerous challenges encountered. He also proposed meetings between the leadership of the National Unity Platform and the leadership of different political parties. And beginning next week, the leadership of NUP shall pay official visits to these comrades and speak with them about the trajectory of the struggle for freedom and democracy. He said, ours is the National Unity Platform. That this is not just our name, it's our DNA. It's our solid belief that all Ugandans, regardless of their religion, ethnicity, gender, economic status, or political affiliation, will need to come together and work for the redemption of our nation. That is why we are not deterred by the challenges encountered in the past. We continue to reach out to our brothers and sisters across the board to build a true front for the liberation of Uganda. This is how the document he sent to each one of them reads. Now, like this one is directed to Honorable Patrick Oboy Amriyat, President, Forum for Democratic Change, FDC, and comes straight from National Unity Platform, Prot 1622/1623, Olodikira Road, PO Box 1919, Kampala. And if actually want to contact the National Unity Platform, the phone contact is there. That is post 2256 200 90 9577. Of course, the email address and the website. So this is to Honorable Patrick Oboy Amriyat, and it was actually received on the 26th of April 2021. It says, dear comrade, compliments and the suggestion of a meeting. I bring you warm greetings and thank you for all you continue to do in the furtherance of the struggle for freedom and democracy in Uganda. The just concluded election was the most violent in our country's history, but you participated with courage and fortitude. Please accept our highest compliments. On behalf of the National Unity Platform, I congratulate you on the successes registered by your party, especially your leaders who were elected to various positions of leadership. As we have agreed in the past, a struggle like ours requires joint efforts by the forces of change. As we embark on a new phase, we would desire to reconnect with your leadership and discuss the way forward, including how to maximize the different fronts available for the benefit of the struggle. I am therefore proposing a meeting between selected leaders of the National Unity Platform and those of the Forum for Democratic Change. We are glad to make an official visit to your headquarters for this meeting. If agreeable to you, we are proposing that the meeting takes place in the week beginning 26th April 2021, preferably on Wednesday 28th or Thursday 29th April 2021. As and when we agree on the date, our teams can work out the other modalities for the meeting. In solidarity, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, President. Alright, now that's not all. He actually as well sent the same to ANT, that is a party led by General Mugisha Muntu, and the proposed dates were 29th and the 30th as well. And then the same was sent to Honorable Mao, that is the president for Democratic Party, and the proposed dates of course were 30th and the 29th still. So basically that is how the document read. This is actually a bold step and an interesting one. It shows you that it's not yet over until it is over, and it continues to show you that it's only unity that can help us get rid out of this mess. Fact of the matter, all this is directed towards ending Museveni dictatorship. But wait a minute, I want to ask you guys a simple question. Who is responsible for dictators like Museveni? And why does Bobiwine continue doing all this, as in, reaching out to each and everyone, doing this and that, making sure that it falls? Who is responsible for dictators like Museveni? You see, there will always be people whose personality makeup predisposes them to dictatorship. Many past and contemporary dictators like Museveni suffer from what you can call extraordinary high levels of narcissism, that excessive interest in themselves and paranoia, that unwanted jealousy. They have that inflated sense of self-importance. First, they lack empathy, they lack guilt, they lack remorse, that's why they commit unspeakable atrocities, including murder. But while it is easy to vilify dictators like Museveni and of course very many others, we should also realize that in many ways, we the people, me and you, are the ones enabling them. After all, a dictator cannot function without followers. Yes, they also have a following. And that's still me and you. That's why I'm saying we, the people, enable these dictators. The good news is, however, that although we enable dictators, maybe directly or indirectly, we can also disable them. And that's one of the very many valid reasons why our president seeks unity amongst all these opposition political parties. Unity is one of the most powerful tools while fighting a dictator, especially when it meets countries like Uganda. Uganda is composed of over 56 tribes, man, each speaking totally different language. Such a demographic is easily manipulatable. Actually, such a demographic in a dictatorship is always split along tribal lines, perpetuated by the dictator himself because it works for him. And this can cause a section of them, a percentage of them to sink deep in waters of submission to fighting dictatorship. But with unity, those chains can easily be broken. Bobiwine is being smart, taking this step, just like he has always been. You see, removing a dictator is a big task. It takes different forms. It takes, different forms. Yeah, it takes different forms. That would be the best description. You can remove a dictator and dictatorship remains functioning. You can remove Museveni and Musevenism remains. So we have to be serious, and that's why he's too calculative, whatever step he takes. You can remove a dictator and the dictatorship remains functioning. Like in Ecuador, the dictator was removed, but the polls later showed the dictatorial apparatus as the politically strongest of the country. Similarly in Bolivia, the dictator, but not the dictatorship, was ousted, and it remains functioning and enjoying impunity, controlling the legislative, judicial, electoral, and the constitutional institutions. Zimbabwe, under Mnangagwa, the same story. You've heard very many of these stories where a dictatorship is ousted. A dictator is ousted, but the dictatorship remains. So, under these circumstances, especially, here in Uganda, what is desirable is none other than the unity of all leaders opposing the dictatorship. It hasn't happened. Bobiwine tried his best. You remember before elections, during those times when we are preparing, to oust the dictator by all means. And of course, he continues to, advocate for this unity. Actually, by contrast, this visible split and confrontation between members of the opposition and the supporters and all that kind of thing, not only in Uganda actually, but all over, that split is basically a characteristic feature that enables the dictatorial system to remain in power. Like I was shocked. Recently, I saw Munyagwa. He was on which TV? I don't remember. He was saying, Museveni is comfortable because of the weak opposition. I was like, man, are you serious? Are you damn serious? Anyway, I wasn't perplexed per se because I expect less from a man who was, who lost an election recently. He was an MP. So it's been and is still a tug of war bringing these people on board, bringing everyone on board, bringing opposition together. People pretend to explain and justify it by, citing ideological, programmatic, those strategic personal ambitions and partisan differences that only, create greater confusion in the people. But of course, we don't give up on that step as well. We are not a giving up generation. You know us. Until we achieve what we want, we shall continue doing whatever it takes to make sure that what we want comes the way we want it. And that's why we shall continue doing our very best to make sure that this dictatorship falls. You see, the unity needed to defeat dictatorships like the one we have here in Uganda and of course all over. Such unity is constantly sabotaged by functional opposition members, who respond to the regime's interests, which turn out to be their own interests as well, helping to maintain the dictatorial status quo. Take an example from personal freedoms and family safety, you see, to important dealings, those political perks, those special benefits that are given to these people, I mean the opposition, like positions of power. Take an example, leader of opposition in parliament as we speak now. These all seem to be compelling reasons for fake opposition members to permanently weaken the possibility of ending the dictatorship. Actually, the absence of unity of command and strategy weakens our options. It weakens democracy's options and portrays the dictator's false image of strength. You hear them most of the time in Singapagama, Museveni kati, and all that kind of thing. The Nankabiru, those apologists and all the kind. But the reality is dictatorships operate with a single command, and that's none other than the transnational strategy to retain power at any cost. And with the region's destabilization, as in you'll find Museveni everywhere, Jamusanga, Congo, then in Sudan, and then in Somalia, and all that kind of thing. He appears to be the savior in all these circumstances. But truth of the matter, the guy is very fragile. Dictators are always very fragile. The dictatorship's real weakness is always very huge. Now look at Museveni's, weakness is very huge. This popular rejection, the society hates him so much. Remember during Tojikwata, 80% said no to age limit removal. Why? They were sending an indirect message that, man, we are tired of you. And what they did was to, bribe MPs, use the power of money. One of the tools the dictators use actually to retain power. So basically, that's how they do it. And hey, all we need to do is to unite. They have no chance of surviving once you unite. They have no chance of surviving. They only seek ways of prolonging their, staying power and the persistent damage to the nations, they oppress. So, it is high time to show that the unity needed. This time round, we should achieve it. The unity needed to remove dictators, to remove Museveni, and end the dictatorship. Because I told you, there is removing Museveni and then Musevenism remains. So we need to remove the dictator, and then the dictatorship falls. And it is very possible to achieve. Very possible to achieve. So, let's continue advocating for that change. Let's continue doing our very best to come together regardless of our differences, our political affiliations, our tribe, our class, culture, and all that kind of thing. It's only unity, because with unity we can see it on the same table and come up with ways. Aba any people in Zoka baina chibainawo. Aba if this namuga baina chibainawo. Ubigatibwa. Because this is totally a different phase. I'm not saying we have to go back into pause and all that kind of thing. No, that is a step that was long done. Now this is a new phase that has to see this guy fall, and he will. That's fact of the matter. Change is a fact of life. But just like I always say, it's not going to be miraculous. It's going to taking up in the now to be part. That's all. Actually, this is a very good step. Yeah, okwogerezaganya kuno tusobole okulaba nti we come together tutulewamu tulabe nti tupushinga ekintu kino fena lumu kuba this is not a Bobiwine is a thing. this is not NUP's kind of thing. This is a Uganda thing. When the worst hits, it doesn't discriminate. It affects everyone regardless of your political affiliation. Look at the recent taxes that were introduced. Man, it's too much. But they don't discriminate whether you are NRM, whether you are FDC, whether you are DP, whether you are JEMA, whether you are, you know, they don't discriminate. So we have to graduate from that thinking of, you know, when it comes to unity, and then we bring in those explanations of, you know, citing ideological, strategic, personal ambitions and those partisan differences that actually continue to simply confuse people. We should put that aside and live in the reality that, hey, we need to fix this country. And it's not going to take one person, it's going to take each and every one. So guys, I just loved the fact that the president of the National Unity Platform is still reaching out to these other political party leaders, you know, to sit down and build the synergies, you know, coming out with ways how to push this thing ahead. Alright guys, that's what I had for you. Maybe you also have, you know, other ways we can continue, because just like I always say, this is not going to take one form, it's going to take different forms. Maybe you have ways we can maybe force, you know, not actually force, to forge this unity, a genuine one. Yeah, I'm waiting for your comments in the comment section below. Your suggestion is in the comment section below. Alright, bye bye for now. And by the way, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and as well as turn on that notification button, yeah, so that I don't miss out most of these videos. Thank you.